Hello, so I'm going to present my topic for my critical thinking presentation. I chose addressing sexual and relationship violence in the LGBT community using a bystander framework. So, first off, there are issues stated in this article by several authors that state sexual and relationship violence are two major public health issues that are affecting many undergraduate students in colleges and universities. Um, there's also federal legislation that states all students should have an equal experience, have up to date protocols, and programs that focus primarily on heterosexual students in the education world. College students that have been a victim of sexual and relationship violence who identify as a member of the LGBT community can face particular challenges when it comes to disclosing their sexual and gender orientations and re victimization when seeking services. And this is a current topic and issue in this article. So to start off with my evidence, there's two slides. So sexual assault of women is the most common violent crime committed on college campuses today. Um, Basically, one in every four college women experiences attempted rape, harassment, bullying during their college years. And according to a few other authors who wrote a story on the sexual victimization of college women, most assaults of women are pursued by acquaintances, so somebody they know, or some like a friend of a friend, or their intimate partner. 25% of women and 14% of men will experience sometime in their lifetime violence in their relationship. While there are steps as how to proceed to prevent further actions, it seems that other approaches have produced mixed signals on effectivity. There simply cannot just be one person or a group to tackle this alone. It's a much bigger issue, and this is why the bystander approach that was created gives anyone standing by, witnessing a crime, anything illegal, they can intervene on the act of a safe way. Many of those who are LGBT identify that as LGBT often feel alone. They're isolated, and this is really because of the norm that society has put on around heterosexuality being the main focal point. It also includes discrimination and harassment done in a work or classroom setting. And due to this, people feel this way. Due to feeling like this and people feeling this way, it makes the process of addressing or reporting violence more difficult. Many lesbians face violence in their first relationship, and this is due to manipulation or fear from an acquaintance or intimate partner, and it has them leaving inadequate or scared to report what had happened. For gay men who are victims, they're often told they should have done, X, Y, and Z, or it's not as common for people to hear that. And because of that, abuse and violence can often go unsaid. Homophobia on campuses can prevent LGBT people from reporting abuse as well. Next slide is talking about in the United States, there are services for victims of sexual and relationship violence, that they're rarely fully inclusive, in funding of services to meet the needs of LGBT victims is pretty much inadequate. The bystander can be defined as a person who witnesses criminal acts, violence, and actions that break the law, similarly stated in bystander intervention in emergencies. Many scholars have tried to create and implement different ways of violence to prevent and encourage them to be supportive bystander. And while majority of these programs, such as the Mentors in Violence Prevention model this was developed in 1993, the MVP program, the Interact Sexual Assault Prevention Program, Men's Project, Bringing the Bystander, and a campaign having to do with bystander framework, it's all been created and implemented in some type of prevention towards violence and sexual abuse, but they do not address that bullying is faced for LGBT students. So based on this article, many of the prevention programs that are included are including different aspects. There's plenty of quantitative evidence for different groups such as gay men, lesbians, and heterosexual communities. It's pretty well said with colleges and psychologists' input and sources that fact are being stated. These programs are contributing the ultimate goal of preventing sexual and relational violence towards different communities. It's also important to know that all data mentioned in this article is based on who has spoken up and reported issues and have helped officials and documenters realize why some programs or their programs may not be as successful. For instance, the article mentions that some people may not feel comfortable with addressing violence due to guilt or how people may make them feel. So from this position, overall, prevention programs have been created for bystanders to stand up to discrimination and violence and criminal acts towards the LGBT community. They contain skill building with members on how to prevent violence firsthand. On a good note, though, those who are involved in these prevention programs feel like they have made a change, that they're impacting a community who needs it because they feel, underserved. But this is a positive change in the right direction. It may be important to bring to light that more programs should have survivors, real people who have gone through or dealt with some type of abuse or harassment. Diversity as far as culture, race, and religion can be smart to implement in groups as well. While there are many groups that discuss how to prevent violence firsthand, there should be more ways of how to safely go about the act, since it is stated that many of the programs do not effectively prevent harassment and bullying. So in conclusion, after reading this article, it is stated that there are many bystander prevention programs that address sexual and relationship violence in the LGBT community. College students experience many situations due to isolation and guilt and the norm that society has placed around the community. Unfortunately, the government fails to provide safe ways of addressing this cause, and LGBT communities are not supported as much as someone who is heterosexual. It is also important for someone reading this article to realize that many groups created these bystander effects and individuals working towards a safer and kinder environment, that the overall purpose of this still cannot be left to deal and handle alone. The bystander framework helps if everyone becomes involved. And for example, a course in the work field and education setting on how to make this possible. One being when you register for classes through DCCD. Lastly, I think it includes government funding and state funding and having same rights as the neighbor, as a neighbor in the other direction, meaning the government should be funding and trying to prevent this for its own people. And here are my references.